What if I told you that in December 1938, Nazi Germany sent a secret expedition to Antarctica to claim a massive territory for the Third Reich? That they dropped swastika flags from aircraft across 600,000 square kilometers of frozen land? And that just 1 year after the war ended, the United States launched the largest military expedition in Antarctic history: 13 ships, 33 aircraft, and 4,700 troops, officially for scientific research. But some believe they were hunting for a secret Nazi base hidden beneath the ice. This is the story of Neuschwabenland, Operation Highjump, and one of World War II's most enduring mysteries. December 17th, 1938. The German freighter MS Schwabenland departed Hamburg under a cloak of secrecy, heading south toward the coldest, most inhospitable continent on Earth. Aboard were 82 crew members, scientists, and officers, along with two Dornier Wall flying boats mounted on catapult launchers. Their destination? Antarctica. Their mission? Officially to scout locations for a German whaling station, but unofficially to claim territory for Nazi Germany before Norway could do the same. This wasn't Hitler's first interest in polar exploration, but it was his most ambitious Antarctic venture. Germany desperately needed whale oil, the essential ingredient for margarine, soap, and explosives. The country had been importing 200,000 metric tons annually from Norway, draining precious foreign currency reserves. With war on the horizon, Hermann Göring, commissioner for the four-year plan, authorized the expedition to establish German independence from Norwegian whale oil and to stake a territorial claim in one of the last unclaimed regions of the planet. The expedition was led by Captain Alfred Richer, a veteran of previous polar missions. But from the start, something felt different about this journey. The secrecy, the military involvement, the timing, just months before Germany would invade Poland and plunge the world into war. What exactly were the Nazis looking for in Antarctica? And what did they find? The MS Schwabenland reached the Antarctic coast on January 19, 1939, arriving at a mountainous region between 20 degrees and 15 degrees C, part of what Norway called Queen Maud Land. The Germans immediately renamed it Neuschwabenland, or New Swabia, after the ship in the Swabia region of southern Germany. What happened next was unprecedented. Over the following weeks, the two Dornier flying boats conducted 15 photographic survey flights, covering over 600,000 square kilometers, an area larger than Germany itself at the time. The aircraft flew systematic grid patterns, taking more than 16,000 aerial photographs of mountains, valleys, and coastline that had never been documented before. But they weren't just taking pictures. The planes were dropping marker darts, small metal poles topped with swastika flags and the German imperial eagle. These were territorial markers, claiming the land for the Third Reich under principles of discovery and symbolic occupation. Over 1,000 of these swastika darts were supposedly dropped across Neuschwabenland, though not a single one has ever been recovered. The expedition discovered an 800-kilometer mountain range and, according to some reports, ice-free areas with vegetation, lakes that remained unfrozen despite Antarctica's brutal cold. German scientists named geographic features after Nazi leaders and German heroes: the Voltat Massif, the Richer Peaks, the Mühlig-Hoffmann Mountains. They were literally putting Germany's stamp on the frozen continent. On February 6, 1939, the Schwabenland departed Antarctica. The ship made a brief stop at Bouvet Island for oceanographic research, then secretly surveyed the islands of Trindade and Martin Vaz off Brazil's coast, evaluating them as potential future naval bases. The expedition returned to Hamburg on April 11, 1939, less than 5 months before Germany invaded Poland. In August 1939, Nazi Germany issued a decree formally establishing Neuschwabenland as German Antarctic territory. But here's where history gets murky. Germany never built a whaling station. No permanent structures were erected. No follow-up expeditions were launched. World War II consumed all of Germany's resources, and Antarctica was forgotten, or so the official story goes. But conspiracy theorists ask, What if that's not the whole truth? What if the 1938-39 expedition wasn't just about whaling stations and territorial claims? What if the Nazis discovered something in those ice-free mountains? Warm water lakes, geothermal caves, underground passages that could shelter a secret base. The theory gained traction from an unlikely source. Two German U-boats that surrendered in Argentina in July 1945, months after Germany's defeat. U-530 and U-977 arrived at Mar del Plata, their crews claiming they had fled Europe to avoid Allied capture. But Hungarian journalist Ladislas Sabo published a sensational book in 1947 titled Hitler is Alive, claiming these submarines had actually been a part of a convoy that transported high-ranking Nazis, possibly even Hitler himself, to a secret Antarctic base called New Berchtesgaden that had been constructed during the 1938-39 expedition. Was it true? The submarine commanders vehemently denied it. Naval records show no evidence of a convoy. The logistics of building an underground fortress in Antarctica with 1930s technology, in secret, during a single month-long expedition, seem impossible. Yet the story refused to die. What gave the conspiracy legs was a genuine mystery. Between 1956 and 1960, Norwegian explorers mapping Queen Maud Land discovered exactly what the rumors described: ice-free mountains, areas with vegetation and warm water lakes. These features match descriptions from supposed Nazi documents and witness accounts. The Mühlig-Hoffmann Mountains rose over 3,000 meters, with nunataks, rocky peaks jutting through the ice, and geothermal activity that kept certain valleys surprisingly hospitable. Could the Nazis have built a base there? Theoretically, yes. Geothermal heat could provide warmth and energy. Underground caverns could offer shelter from the brutal surface conditions. The area was remote enough that construction could have continued in secret throughout the war. But where's the evidence? No wreckage, no artifacts, no definitive proof. Just tantalizing possibilities and suspicious gaps in the historical record. Then came 1946. World War II had ended. Germany was defeated and occupied, yet on August 26, 1946, the United States launched Operation Highjump, the largest military expedition ever sent to Antarctica. The scale was staggering: 13 ships including an aircraft carrier, USS Philippine Sea, a submarine, USS Senate, 2 destroyers, an icebreaker, and 33 aircraft. The force numbered 4,700 men, more than had been sent to many actual wartime invasions. The official purpose? To establish the research base Little America 4, train troops in polar conditions, map Antarctica's coastline, and test cold weather equipment. This was the Navy's explanation, and historians largely accept it. The mission was part of America's preparations for potential Arctic warfare against the Soviet Union, conducted in Antarctica to avoid direct confrontation with Russia. But the official story had problems. The expedition was originally scheduled to last 6 months, but was terminated after just 2.5 months. One aircraft crashed during a blizzard, killing 3 crew members, but otherwise the mission proceeded smoothly. So why did they come home early? Official records cite approaching winter and worsening weather, reasonable explanations. But conspiracy theorists saw something more sinister. The commander of Operation Highjump was Rear Admiral Richard E. Byrd, one of America's most famous polar explorers. After returning from Antarctica in March 1947, Byrd gave an interview to Lee Van Atta of International News Service that would fuel conspiracy theories for decades. According to reports, Byrd warned that the United States should prepare for the possibility of hostile action from aircraft that can fly from pole to pole at incredible speeds. Some versions claim he said America must defend against an enemy that can fly from pole to pole. He spoke of the fantastic speed with which the world is shrinking, and warned that distances and oceans could no longer guarantee safety. What did he mean? Was he speaking generally about the advent of long-range aviation in the Cold War? Or had he encountered something specific in Antarctica? Advanced aircraft, perhaps left behind by the Nazis or operated by survivors in a hidden base. The most extreme versions of the conspiracy claim that Operation Highjump was an invasion force sent to destroy a Nazi base, that American planes were shot down by advanced German flying saucer technology, and that Byrd's forces were repelled and forced to retreat. Supposedly, this explains the early termination of the mission. The Nazi Antarctica theory became intertwined with UFO mythology in the 1950s. Reports surfaced that Germany had developed experimental flying disc aircraft during the war, the Haunebu and Vril designs, based on supposed occult knowledge or even extraterrestrial technology. According to these stories, prototypes of these craft were evacuated to Antarctica before Berlin fell, and German scientists continued developing them in secret. This would explain Admiral Byrd's warnings about aircraft flying at incredible speeds. It would explain why Operation Highjump ended early. The Americans encountered technology they couldn't match, and it would connect to the wave of UFO sightings that swept America in 1947, including the famous Roswell incident. Were these sightings actually Nazi flying saucers operating from Antarctica? The theory became so prevalent that in 2006, a Russian documentary claimed Operation Highjump was attacked by flying saucers defending Nazi Base 211 in Neuschwabenland. The film presented evidence and witnesses, though historians have thoroughly debunked virtually all of it. Serious historians and Antarctic researchers have systematically demolished the secret base theory. The 1938-39 German expedition was in Antarctica for only 1 month. They had no heavy construction equipment, no submarines for transport, and no follow-up missions. Building even a small outpost in that time would have been impossible, let alone a city-sized underground complex. Operation Highjump's route, documented in flight maps and ship logs, never went near Neuschwabenland. The American ships operated primarily in the Ross Sea area on the opposite side of Antarctica from the supposed Nazi base. If they were hunting for German survivors, they were looking in the wrong place. The 2 German U-boats that surrendered in Argentina have been thoroughly investigated. Their logs show they spent the final months of the war lurking in the South Atlantic, not making trips to Antarctica. Neither submarine had the range, supplies, or equipment necessary for an Antarctic voyage carrying passengers and cargo. German records captured after the war show no evidence of continued Antarctic operations after 1939. The Third Reich was stretched thin fighting on multiple fronts. The idea that they diverted resources to maintain a secret Antarctic base, supplied by submarine through Allied-controlled waters, strains credibility. And the swastika marker darts? In over 80 years of Antarctic exploration, not one has ever been found. They were likely lost immediately, dropped into crevasses or buried under snow, or perhaps never dropped at all. Thrown overboard when fuel ran low, as one account describes. So what's the truth about Nazi Antarctica? Did Germany really establish a secret base in Neuschwabenland? Did Admiral Byrd's Operation Highjump encounter surviving Nazis operating advanced aircraft? The evidence overwhelmingly says no. The 1938-39 expedition was real but brief, focused on mapping and whaling station sites. Germany never returned to Antarctica, never built permanent structures, and never had the capability to maintain a secret base while fighting a global war. Operation Highjump was exactly what the U.S. Navy claimed, a Cold War training and mapping mission that ended early because of weather and logistics. But mysteries remain. Why did Norwegian explorers discover ice-free areas matching German descriptions decades later? Why did Admiral Byrd use such dramatic language about threats from polar regions? Why has so much documentation about early Antarctic expeditions been classified or lost? The answer likely lies not in hidden bases and flying saucers, but in the fog of war, incomplete records, and the human tendency to see patterns where none exist. Antarctica is vast, hostile, and largely unexplored even today. It's easy to project mysteries onto a blank white canvas. Yet the conspiracy theories serve a purpose. They keep alive the uncomfortable truth that many Nazis escaped justice after the war, fleeing to South America and elsewhere. While they probably didn't build Antarctic fortresses, they did establish networks in Argentina, Brazil, and Chile that sheltered war criminals for decades. The myth of Base 2111 might be fiction, but the reality of post-war Nazi escape routes was very real. Today, Neuschwabenland is officially part of Queen Maud Land, administered by Norway under the Antarctic Treaty System. Germany operates the Neumayer Station 3 research facility there. Ironically, the first permanent German presence in the region didn't arrive until 1981, 42 years after the Schwabenland expedition. Scientists study climate, atmosphere, and geology. No underground bases, no flying saucers, just ice, rock, and the pursuit of knowledge. But every few years, someone claims they've found something. Satellite images show anomalies. Ground-penetrating radar detects structures. Books and documentaries promise to reveal the truth about what the Nazis built beneath the ice. The legend refuses to die because Antarctica still guards its secrets beneath kilometers of ice that would hide anything buried there. Did the Nazis build a secret base in Antarctica? Almost certainly not. But the fact that we can't prove it definitively, that Antarctica remains mysterious enough to make such stories plausible, tells us something important about the frozen continent and about our need for mysteries in a world where so few remain.